In the past, it was normal for families to live in poverty due to poor circumstances. These families often sent their children to work for a rich family, and now a child had to go to work. Herding buffaloes for the rich. This herd of buffaloes is very large, no one is willing to let me herd them together. All year round I have to herd my buffalo herd alone, in the middle of wild forests and deserts. No one chat. At mealtime, even though my rice ball was small, I broke it in half and threw half out for the birds to eat for fun. One day the baby sat in the shade of a tree to shelter from the sun. The wind blew so cool that he fell asleep. When he woke up, the beetle was gone. I looked across the field and did not see. Worried about losing the buffalo and afraid that the owner would attack him, he immediately followed the riverbank up to look for him. Arriving at the Cook River, the water swirled like a pinwheel. On both banks there were many strange trees, fragrant flowers, and lush young grass. Then we met a herd of buffaloes. At noon, the sun glowed red like a pot of fire. It was so hot, I went down to the river to bathe. There was a water turtle the size of an egg, with a large rock pressing down on one leg. The turtle struggled but could not pull its leg out. The child loved the turtle and came to the rock to save its life. From then on, I chased buffalo there every day. Because the plants and trees here are lush in all seasons. As the days passed, the buffalo herd doubled in number. The baby has also become a healthy young man. One day the young man was sitting under the shade of a tree, scattering rice for the birds to eat, when he suddenly heard the wind blowing and the trees and grass falling on all sides. He looked up at the sky and saw 3 fairy sisters flying down from the clouds. Landing in the whirlpool, we took off our clothes and left them on the shore, then we waded out to bathe. All 3 girls are beautiful, but the youngest is the prettiest. The buffalo herdsman wanted to marry this girl, so he sneaked out, took her clothes and went into the bush to sit. The sun stood still. The fairies were about to return to the fairy world, but the youngest fairy lost her clothes and sat in the bushes. The eldest fairy clapped her hands 3 times. The shirt immediately flew off, and the buffalo herder fell down dead. From that day on, when the sun was full, the 3 fairies came down here to bathe. As for the buffalo herdsman and number 39's body, it had rotted, turning into bugs and maggots. There was a maggot that broke loose, fell into the river, and met a turtle crushed by a rock, saved by a buffalo herdsman several years ago, who was also wandering around here. This turtle is a turtle. While going out, he got stranded. Thanks to his rescue, the turtle waited for a chance to repay the favor. Today, the turtle knew that the buffalo herdsman had died, so he came here to save him. Seeing the maggot fall, the turtle came and smelled it, knowing that the buffalo herdsman was dying here. The turtle crawled to shore and found it. It dripped 3 drops of saliva onto the corpse. The buffalo herd came back to life, sat up straight, and was several times stronger than before. The turtle told him, "I have paid your gratitude. Now I tell you to add a living medicinal plant. Keep this living medicinal plant with you and you will live forever. If someone dies, take this medicinal plant and point it at the dead person and they will come back to life." Having finished speaking, the turtle disappeared. The buffalo herdsman had not yet recovered from his shock when he saw the medicinal plant in front of his eyes. The medicinal plant is only the size of a toothpick, green like a rice plant leaf, both ends are equal. It is impossible to know which is the root and which is the tip. He tore the fabric of his shirt and put the medicinal plant in. The three fairies spread the clouds and flew down again. Thinking there was no one left, all three girls threw their towels and clothes on the shore and ran into the water. Having a living medicinal plant, the young man was no longer afraid of death. He went straight to take the third girl and number 39's shirt, put it under his arm, and stood there watching. Her father saw her coming, ran to the shore, clapped his hands, and performed magic. He still stood motionless. The two older sisters were so scared that they quickly grabbed their clothes and flew back to the sky. The third girl stayed behind to be the buffalo herdsman and number 39's wife. Married to a beautiful wife, the buffalo herder still lives in a poor port. However, the couple lives in harmony. After a year, the two gave birth to a son. One day, in the middle of the growing season, he chased the buffalo to herd. His wife stayed at home, taking out the rice basket to dry. Seeing the fairy shirt her husband had hidden under the bed, the wife brought it out to try it out. Having been gone for a long time, the fairy missed her father, missed her mother, missed her sister, missed the whole fairy village, so she soared into the sky. When he chased the buffalo back and saw that the house was deserted, the child was crying, and the kitchen had no fire, he ran in to look for the fairy and number 39's shirt, but the shirt was gone. Knowing that his wife had returned to heaven, he could not sit still. Pitying, crying. He took his child to look for his wife, not knowing when he would return to his old house. Before leaving, he took his child to visit the whirlpool again. The turtle waited for him there again. Turtle gave him 2 more pills and a sword, and told him, "The medicine must be taken immediately, 1 pill for each person. As for the sword, Don and number 39's lose it. Whenever there is a disaster, the knife will save itself." The buffalo herdsman gave his son a pill. The baby, who had just learned to sit, suddenly became bigger and stronger than his father. He took the remaining pill. His body is also 5 or 7 times taller and stronger than before, strong enough to reach the ends of the earth. He immediately put it on his back, held the medicinal plant in his hand, and took his child straight toward the rising sun. After 3 months of traveling, he and his father met a garbage man. The trash is as tall as a bamboo bush, with feet as big as the foot of a communal house column. Garbage likes to eat live eels. He forced his father and son to find eels for them to eat. He said, "If you and your father escape, I will cut off your heads. In this sky, wherever I fly, I will find wherever I hide." Having the medicinal plant living inside them, father and son were not afraid of death, but knew they could not escape the trash and number 39's wings as big as a roof, so they had to listen to it to gradually find a way to escape. Every day, father and son, the buffalo herder, had to go to the fields and catch several baskets of eels for them. During the stormy rainy season, the water is completely flooded, leaving no place to catch eels. The hungry garbage child swallowed his father into his stomach without even getting a scratch or tearing his flesh. Having a living medicinal plant in his body, not knowing suffocation or pain, he stirred and tore at the garbage and number 39's intestines. Feeling pain, it struggled, rolled, trampled through a dense area of trees. In the end, the trash had to give in. He said, I won, and number 39. Force you to look for eels anymore. You and your father can go wherever you want. You can, and number 39. Hurt me. If you don't, and number 39. Let me go. There, and number 39. No need. He crawled up to the trash and number 39's neck and said those words, then scratched harder. The trash begged, I will give you 2 of my feathers, they are very necessary for seafarers. To prevent the living garbage from obstructing his path, he cut off its intestines, cut open its belly, pulled out 2 wing feathers, and then took it on its way to the horizon. Not long after his father and son left, they ran out of land and reached the sea. The sea is vast, the water is blue, the waves are crashing. The surrounding area was quiet, there were no people passing by or boats going back and forth. The father and son took the knife into the forest, cut down a large tree, and cut out the inside to make a boat. The son took beetle juice from his father while he was eating and painted the side of the boat red. Take 2 of the trash and number 39's feathers and stand up, waiting for the wind. 2 big feathers spread out like 2 sails. Waiting for the wind to pick up, father and son pushed the boat out to sea. The wind is strong. The boat runs through the waves, faster than a horse can run on land. Even though the wind changed direction, the boat still ran according to the father and son and number 39's intention. Running to the other side of the sea, the boat raised its nose into the air. The wind blew strongly again. The boat soared into the sky, flying straight to the fairy cave. The fairy father was sitting reading a book when he saw the boat speeding towards him, so he asked his children, which one of them came down to earth and got into debt, allowing mortals to come up and disturb the heavenly palace. The 3rd fairy confessed her crime, and to miss a poor buffalo herder and The fairy father was angry, ordered the fairy to be tied up, and then urged the army to block an attack, preventing the buffalo herdsman and his son from entering the fairy village. The fairies poured out like a swarm of bees, surrounding the boat. The buffalo herder had never known about archery and swords, nor had he ever seen a mighty army. Now meeting the heavenly army, his body trembled, one hand holding a knife, the other clutching the living tree and tightly to his body. The boy didn't and #39 know how to gamble, so he kept holding the knife and looking over and over again. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a voice reached his ears, and when their army comes close, turn the blade up, they will cut their necks and puncture their stomachs. And he was confident, holding the sword firmly, his eyes ready to watch the approaching army. When the elven army was still 3 steps away from him, he flipped the blade up. Father Tien urged more troops to come out. But no matter how many more immortals came out, they were all killed by the magic knife. Father and son went straight to the heavenly palace. The fairies were afraid and ran away, leaving only the Tide Fairy standing there. He went to untie the rope. When husband and wife, mother and child met, they were both happy and sad. She brought her children and husband to apologize to her father. The father fairy ran out of permission and troops, so he had to agree to let the youngest fairy return to Earth. The buffalo herd brought his wife and children back to the boat. The boat flew straight from the heavenly palace to the sea, then from the sea to the mainland, following a river back to the old village. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.